Alright, hello there ladies and gentlemen, my name is Kyle Aris and I'm going to be bringing you a few VODs today. I'm going to be filming them on my stream, etc. And you've got a nice little picture of my ferret there dressed up in a stupid costume. So that's all pretty cool and dandy. Anyway, nevertheless, the countdown has begun. Let's get right into this game and see what is gonna unfold. So indeed we do have PhoeNix, RGN PhoeNix actually, or was previously on RGN, Rain even, going to be spawning here as the red Zerg over in this bottom left hand position, and we do have FadeSG going to be spawning as the blue Terran over in this right hand position, and Fade has been such a strong player in Grandmasters, actually one of my friends who has been able to show me some great games day in, day out, so ultimately we'll have to see what he can do here. He did in fact send me this replay, and yeah, coming back to PhoeNix, he has been a very, very strong Zerg, was previously on the Team Rain, however, after a bit of a dispute with management and couldn't agree precisely on terms of contract, is now no longer in Rain, but still a very, very strong Korean Zerg, and we'll have to see what he does in this game. Probably going to be very, very strong indeed. I wouldn't be surprised. This was played on ladder, ladies and gentlemen, so it's no kind of random, I don't know, tournament setting or whatever. This is just a ladder game, so don't, you know, read into anything like that. So we will have to see, and hopefully we'll get a good game out of both these players. So instantly, Fade going to be walling off at the top of his ramp here. Very, very important to do indeed. Let me just quickly do something on Team Liquid. There we go, not a problem. And we do have Fade, yeah, as I said before, going to be walling off. Very, very important against any kind of early Zerg pressure that does come your way. Very, very strong indeed if you can get that off. And now PhoeNix going to be going for a pull first. A lot of the time you do see Zergs going for that very, very quick hatchery against Terran. They can get away with it to a certain degree, especially if your opponent doesn't go for that 2-Rex bunker pressure. So ultimately, you know, PhoeNix going for a slightly less economy-based route here, but we'll have to see if he can deal with any aggression that does come along his way, which I'm probably sure he will be able to, considering the fact that he's getting that pull out so quickly in comparison to the normal Terran builds, Zerg builds. So, PhoeNix, meanwhile, going to be going for that extractor, wants to get that speed out pretty quickly, could even tech up to Roaches or Banelings if he so requires, and going to be getting that Queen out as well before hatchery, so really kind of wary of anything that the Terran is going to be doing here at this point. And meanwhile, in the base of the Terran, we do have that one refinery down already, so I wouldn't be surprised if we do see some kind of blue flame pressure. So common nowadays in this matchup and also in TVT. You really don't see it as much in the TVP, but it is kind of whittling its way into there and can still be extremely strong, as Hellions are so good for their cost. So we do have a second refinery going down. This could mean a Banshee kind of follow-up if he does go for those Hellions indeed. And there we go, there's the factory. Actually going to be building that in sort of plain sight of the ramp. And, you know, it's not too much of a problem, as the Marines will probably be able to fend off anything that does kind of come their way. But at the same time, we do have PhoeNix going to be grabbing his expansion, and rightfully so indeed. Doesn't want to be going for any kind of cheesy play right now. Did stop mining gas just barely at the 100 mark there, so he could get that speed out. Very, very important in order to be able to establish some kind of map control, and ultimately, you know, it's going to stand him in good stead for the rest of the game. So now Fade as well going to be going for his own expansion. These Zerglings trying to penetrate the defenses of Fade, but unable to see the expansion going down in the back here. Lone Overlord going to be positioning itself maybe for a suicide run-in later on to see what tech is going down in his base. And Tech Lab actually going on here. I wouldn't be surprised if we did see some kind of switch here. It looks like we may be seeing that, yep, so it looks like, I think we'll see some blue flame, probably. They're so, once again, so strong for their cost, and I have always wondered to myself, why on earth do blue flame Hellions not cost any gas, because I'm sure you need the gas for flames, but alas, that's not how it works, so it's all good. So, in reaction, a Spine Crawler is going to be going down for PhoeNix here. Very, very nice in order to be able to just get that up anyway, regardless of what you actually see coming. Just in case, you know, those Hellions do come along. I personally do prefer the 2 Spine Crawlers in order to be able to deal with this. And I've just realized this is my first ever cast on my YouTube channel of a game that is not a Protoss. So, welcome ladies and gentlemen to ZVT World. This is my first ever one, so hopefully it shall go well. So yeah, as I said, this Spine Crawler is going to be able to hold off this pretty well. Personally, I would like to see 2 or even a Roach Warren going down in order to be able to hold off Blue Flame Hellions, but he doesn't actually know it's around just yet, and it looks like we do have that Starport out. Going to be going for a Medevac in order to be able to drop these Hellions, maybe in the back here. And Evolution Chamber on the way as well to start those upgrades. Very, very nice. I love players that keep ahead in the upgrades war. Upgrades are just defining factors in a lot of matchups, and you know, if you do fall behind drastically, then it can become a significant problem in the mid to late game. So hopefully we will not see Fade fall behind, as that would be very brutal indeed. But it looks like now we're going to see, ooh, what is going on here? Maybe some Reactor Hellions now that that Blue Flame has finished, and maybe we'll see some kind of mech play come out of Fade. Very, very kind of strong against a Zerg that doesn't know it's coming, and even more so, maybe after the patch where Neuroparasite is supposed to be getting nerfed, and I don't think PhoeNix actually saw this Medevac with those Zerglings, just skirted barely around the edges of them, but we do have a Baneling nest going to be going down now, and 30 Zerglings on the way, as well as that hatchery. So PhoeNix looking to put on maybe a little bit of pressure, maybe establish a little bit more map dominance. But the Hellions are going to be coming in here, trying to roast as many of these drones as possible. Do get a few there. The Zerglings are going to be coming back, but picks those Hellions up very wisely there. Only losing 1, and not getting as many drone kills as I actually thought there. So PhoeNix doing not too bad a job of defending that. Speed is so essential. Even if Blue Flame Hellions do roast them to shreds, you can still utilize speed Zerglings in order to be able to deal with that kind of Hellion harass. Zealot harass. So going to be dropping in once again, not really getting any damage done there, and the Hellions are going to be forced to retreat. Oh, this could be picked off by a Queen, but he is going to be dropping them, probably sacrificing the Medevac at this point. All the Hellions getting a nice surround off potentially with these Zerglings. They do end up picking them off, but a huge roast there of drones, and now PhoeNix slightly down on the economy if we just come to the income here. Really being pressured here at this point, and he really needs to make something happen or just drone up intensively. And this actually is the right decision here by PhoeNix. Really needs to get his economy going even further, needs that advantage that the Zerg would need against that kind of Terran play. And but meanwhile, we do have Thors in production for Fade, so we are indeed going to see some mech play. And meanwhile, PhoeNix is going to be breaking down this rock just to open extra avenues of attack. Very, very important for a Zerg to be able to get those good counter-attacks off. So that should be very, very crucial indeed. Lone Thor's positioned around the base now, just in anticipation for any kind of Mutalisk assaults that do come along. Very, very strong indeed to be able to do that. And now Fade is looking in a bit of a good position. Really wants to get his third up anytime soon. I'm really surprised he wouldn't have tried to establish a potential third during that kind of Hellion harass. Although that being said, turtling up on this 2 bases, getting your Thors out, getting those Blue Flame Hellions in a good position, getting those upgrades out as well is going to be so strong against somebody going predominantly Zerglings. It just depends on whether or not the Zerglings can get good surrounds off on those Thors, and you know, if he morphs in Banelings, whether or not those Banelings can connect with those Hellions. So we do have that layer morphing in now, and Banshee's on the way as well. This is a very, very interesting combination at this point. Banshee's going to be able to rule the skies whilst these Thors are there to protect them, especially against Mutalisk harass that may come its way if that does so happen. But Centrifugal Hooks is on the way now, so it looks like PhoeNix is going to be committing to some kind of Baneling composition here. And once again, those Banelings are going to be fantastic at catching up to those Hellions. A few Hellions going to be coming in here, not going to be able to do too much. Both of them being picked off without any kills at all. And now PhoeNix is in a pretty good position defense-wise, just spreading that creep, but slightly falling behind on the macro, actually just catching up there. Oh, but 5 Thors moving out now for Fade. Bit of a contingent of these Hellions as well. Going to be fantastic at roasting away all those Zerglings. And now the Zerglings moving in. Oh, going to be taking a few casualties there. Going to be retreating as quickly as possible. 35 more Zerglings on the way there, as well as that Carapace level 1. But +2 weapons is on the way for this mech, and that is going to do a lot of damage indeed. Banshee's going to be leading the charge here at this point. I'm really curious as to whether or not more Banshee's going to be following in. 21 Banelings going to be morphing in, so he really needs to be able to connect with these Hellions in order to be able to do damage. But the Hellions could run up, doing a lot more damage to those Zerglings. And now the Thors going to be trying to take out this third base. The Thors are actually in a great position, going to be blocking a lot of those Hellions. And now the Banelings going to be rolling in. They really need to be able to connect with the Hellions, but they don't. They only connect with the Thors. And now the Fade, oh my god, losing no Thors whatsoever. And the Zerglings are cold dead on the water. Where on earth are they? They're just not helping at all in this engagement. Losing nothing to so many Banelings is absolutely crucial at this point in time. And now Fade is going to be able to put on a lot of pressure after taking out that third so cleanly. He's going to be able to do so much damage in this natural. The lone Banshee doing a great job of holding back any kind of harassment that does come along, but the Zergling's going to be running in for the surround. Banelings move in, all the Hellions explode, and now this is looking to be cleaned up by PhoeNix pretty darn well. Just barely though. I mean, behind this Fade, he's hopefully getting a command center. No, he's not got a command center behind this. He's just been macroing up from his factories at this point, and I would have loved to have seen him take a third behind this, actually denying the third of your opponent. But the Banshee is still, the second Banshee here, just in the base of his opponent, going to be able to take out a few more drones, and this is so crippling to the economy. But Mutalisks are now out, they'll be able to deny that Banshee pretty darn quickly. And now the big thing for PhoeNix is whether he can re-establish his economy properly in order to be able to keep up with the Terran. We do have that command center going down for Fade right now. A few more factories on the way. Fade playing such a great mech style here. Blocking that ramp off with those Thors was just so crucial in order to be able to keep those Hellions alive, allowing those Hellions to roast so many drones. And now we do have a Raven coming out as well, so that will be great to be able to soak up any kind of Mutalist shots that do come along, as they are indeed projectiles, and plus 3 weapons on the way for these Thors, and these are going to do so much damage to these Mutalists if they get the chance. Flying into a missile turret, that's pretty dangerous. Going to be taking 1 or 2 casualties, just barely saving those last 2. And now Fade's Hellions are going to be able to scour the map, but these Mutalists are in hot pursuit. So we do have Glial Reconstitution on the way now for PhoeNix, and that's going to be great in order to aid those Roaches, just get into a good position against those Thors. But you know, at the same time, Thors do quite a bit of damage to Roaches. It's just whether or not you can get a good amount of them up in order to be able to deal with those numbers. And now Fade is going to look to secure his third expansion. A lone Zergling will be able to spot that, so great scouting there by PhoeNix here. But PhoeNix really needs to, you know, kind of get ahead in the economy game. He's really Fade is doing a great job at keeping up in supply. And when you're in a position like this as Zerg, you do not want to be going up against an equal supply army of mech, as these Thors just do so much damage per volley, especially with +3 on the way. So now PhoeNix looking to just continue amassing these Roach numbers and doing a great job of creep spreading here. This is fantastic. Meanwhile, the Mutalist's going to be harassing this base. Probably not going to be able to do that much, just deny this refinery. Any SCVs that do get close to it will incur some splash damage like that one just there. And doing a good job of keeping out of range of this missile turret, but then again, actually moving into that missile turret, almost losing another Mutalist there. And now Fade slightly going to pull back with these Thors, which have just, you know, already done so much damage for him in this game. Not these particular Thors, but the unit in general. Was able to deny that third, really keep a check on the Zerg. But now a lot of Roach is going to be moving out here across the map. We do have Siege Tech on the way for these Siege Tanks. Not too many Siege Tanks out right now. It's really interesting to see. You don't see that. It's very rare that you see that few Siege Tanks and just the Hellion kind of Thor mix. So now Fade is in a pretty good position to take, you know, a good lead into this game. But again, gotta credit PhoeNix with its amazing creep spread, just moving into every single avenue of the map here and doing just a great job of keeping it going. Lone Thor Hellion's going to be moving out across the map once again, scouting for any bases that are on the map, but PhoeNix looking to deny with these Roaches. Doesn't want him to see up here, just in case there was a potential base. Really wants to keep his opponent guessing, and does block that Hellion off, so he will be denied this position here. And in fact, PhoeNix actually going to be expanding down there. So great job by PhoeNix, just denying that, and keeping his opponent guessing, as I said before, but Fade looking to take another base, getting good saturation on his third, and it looks like his main is going to be mined out anytime soon. But look at this, +3 weapons on these Thors makes them absolutely deadly, almost doing 80 damage a volley. And oh my god, this is such a scary army for the Zerg to deal with. Just going to be moving out with that Raven, and such great use of Ravens here, but a bit of an engagement. The Roaches really shouldn't be engaging at this point, trying to take out a few of those Hellions. And wisely going to be moving back, as siege mode would have wrecked them, along with those Thors to actually support. So now Fade going to be looking into getting a good position here, but the Roach is coming up once again, trying to catch the siege tanks out of siege mode. Does take a few of those Hellions, but at the same time incurs a few Roach losses. That's really not what he wants to be doing against this army. He really doesn't have the room to be trading right now, and that's what Fade is taking advantage of. The fact that the Zerg is really not in a position to be able to deal with this effectively enough to be able to replenish and, you know, get that second wave to finally polish it off. So now Fade once again just going to be moving through, killing so many creep tumors. It looks like he's trying to take the gold as well, potentially, but there will be creep denying that. And, you know, great use of these Ravens. It's really rare you see Terrans get Ravens, but hold the phone. A lot of Banelings going to be rolling in, trying to do as much damage as possible, and the Roaches get a good surround. Going to be trying to kill off a lot of this and do so much damage to the Thors, and all the Thors fall. But auto turrets here to try and save the day, as Fade tries to just kill as many of these Roaches as possible. Really not much else they could have done, just trying to utilize every single option possible. But PhoeNix really doing so well breaking that attack. The Banelings doing so much damage to those clumps of units, but hold the phone, another engagement going to be going off here. The Hellions trying to run away from those Zerglings, but killing a few in the process, and now the siege tanks really need to get in a position to actually siege up, and these Roaches are going to be offering a very, very good counter-attack indeed. There really isn't much here that Fade has to deal with this. He does have another few siege tanks coming down here. The Hellions in the back trying to do as much damage as possible, but really are only tickling those Roaches, and now the Roaches just picking off every single siege tank, but actually cleaning this up pretty well. I'm really surprised. There are a lot of Banelings going to be morphing in here, though. Could do a lot of damage with those, and the Thors, the Roaches in the back just being cleaned up by auto turrets. How often do you see that? He's just really trying to keep on top of his macro here, but the Banelings is going to be rolling in, trying to do as much damage as possible. Will they go for the mineral line? This could be deadly. All the SCVs clumping up. This could be huge. Oh, taking a lot of damage, but the Planetary Fortress standing tall here, going to be able to deny as much damage from those Roaches as possible, but a lone Thor does get caught out in the open, and now siege tanks trying to position themselves in order to be able to deal with this. Meanwhile, though, you know, back in the bases of PhoeNix, he's been trying to get this economy up and running at this fourth. Really needs that going in order to be able to kind of put himself even further in the lead. Fade's macro slipping ever so slightly at this point, but ultimately, you know, he's just been under so much pressure after that initial failed attack that PhoeNix has been allowed to get yet another base up to the top left here. So now Fade is looking to he really needs to establish some kind of dominance in the map, as you know, this creep once again is just offering. Look at the vision of PhoeNix down in the bottom corner. He has vision of almost everything, and we do have Infestation Pit on the way as well as Burrow, so he could use those infestors to be able to put on a load of pressure in this position. But the Ravens are out again. You know, these Ravens are doing a very, very good job for Fade. They're going to be able to spot a lot in this position. Great placement of missile turrets in order to be able to deny Mutalisks swinging in from this direction, and looking to establish a fourth here, as Fade is really kind of struggling at this point. He is slightly down on supply, but wants to kind of establish more economy in order to be able to deal with the economy of PhoeNix. And he's going to be exacerbating things if he lets PhoeNix get much more out of check. Going to be dropping a scan here. Seeing that base up and running is never a great thing to see as a Terran in this position. But 3 Hellions going to be moving down here in order to try and do a little bit of damage. Meanwhile, there are Zerglings going to be running in here to try and deny this, and the Hellions do indeed get denied. So those Hellions will have to run home crying to mummy, as the Roaches here are going to be looking to pick off a few of these guys at the gold. And this is the risk of the gold. Having this high ground above a gold is so annoying for any kind of player. So I personally really don't take the gold on Antiga Shipyard. It can be very, very hard to defend indeed. But Fade's superior mech force here will be able to push those roaches away barely after taking a few kills. And the roaches getting a little overzealous there, taking a few shots from those siege tanks. Really not what they wanted to do. And oh, Fade going to be using this high ground advantage here to establish some very, very strong middle map dominance. But here's the thing. PhoeNix has very, very good mobility. He could exploit this, go for a counter-attack on the flanks in order to be able to kind of do some damage to the economy of Fade. I would love to see that happen. Has a lot of Banelings out here, really needs to connect in the right spots for these. Banelings really don't do that much damage to siege tanks, especially when they're spread out. And now a few, are going to be coming in for attack here. The Mutalist's going to be trying to magic box over those Thors. All the Banelings going to be crashing into some siege tanks here, killing off quite a few of them, but all the roaches just melt. And now it's a case of whether these Mutalists can do enough damage in order to be able to deal with this. But the auto turrets are down, soaking up so much damage from these Mutalists. They're taking so much damage from these Thors, and the auto turret's down once again in order to be able to clean this up. Fade in such a good position now, really pulling himself back into this. We don't have a Hive morphing in, and you know, he really wants Broodlords out at this point in order to be able to deal with this. But at the same time, you know, Fade just be able to. That was a really bad engagement for PhoeNix at this point. Not the best at all, and losing so much of his supply. Had to only replenish with Zerglings, and the Blue Flame Hellions will be able to deal with them so well. And oh, so many roasted Zerglings as the Hellions just dominate this position. And now it looks like the Mutalists will be able to try and clean up a little bit here. This lone Thor stands between them and salvation. Really needs to keep this alive. The SCV is doing a great job of repairing that, but the bouncing damage is slowly whittling down those SCV numbers. So if it survives long enough, it's going to be able to deal with this. Another Thor coming in from behind here. Does have a little bit of energy for those auto turrets, and oh my god, I was so excited. I didn't even see the GG. So that is going to be it, ladies and gentlemen, for that game. Join me very, very soon, where I will be showing you another game very, very soon of an epic game between Avillo and Destiny. Don't miss it.